Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yudha Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sahadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Dhitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum dinatarinam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram Paramananda Madhavam Dhiya nigrihamanopi bruvor madhyat prajapate sadyo jayata tanmanyu kumaro nila lohitaha. Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows, and a child of mixed blue and red was immediately generated. Hare Krishna, we welcome all the devotees for our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class at Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple. Today happens to be the beginning of New Year, and we wish everyone a very happy Krishna conscious New Year as per the English calendar. And we hope and pray that let this New Year bring about a deeper and a newer change within ourselves more than the external changes that we see in the world around. When we enter into a new home or we get into any new venture in this world, obviously we make sure that we enter that new home at the right time, with the right mindset, with a happy mood and a joyful environment all around. And especially we want to create that auspiciousness around us when we enter a new home, so that everything in that home becomes auspicious, goes auspicious, remain auspicious. Similarly, when we are entering into a new year, we want to create that auspiciousness all around us. We want to create those right vibes around us, so that let this beginning also continue to have auspiciousness all around us all throughout the year. And what can be a better way to create auspiciousness? What can be a better way to experience those positive vibrations than coming together and being in the temple, taking darshan of their lordships, chanting the holy names, and also hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So, of course, devotees, they do these activities daily, not just once in a year. No, that's what is most important, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And that's why devotees, they carry that auspicious vibrations wherever they go. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani te antasvena gadabhritaha. because they have Lord within their heart all throughout, 24 by 7 into 365. They actually create tirtha. They actually purify the places all around. So yes, we have entered a new year, yet another new year, but we all know very soon the charm of that new year's will fade away. It's not going to remain new forever. Another new year will set in. But what is important is we need to understand that whatever we have around, the newness slowly but surely fades away. इतिहास इस बात का गवाह है, इतिहास इस बात का गवाह है कि जितने भी नए साल आए हैं, जितने भी नए साल आए हैं, एक वर्ष से ज्यादा टिक नहीं पाए हैं. So obviously, even the new year will not last. Srimad Bhagavatam is 5,000 years old. It's old yet new. Bhagavatam, although it is so old, the tradition of Krishna consciousness, although so old, it continues to give newer and newer insights about life daily. And the fact of the matter is, the things of this world, they decay, they degenerate with the passage of time. But there are certain things in life which do not decay or degenerate with the passage of time, but their property, their usage, and their quality goes on increasing. Say, for example, we all have tasted honey. Now, the real authentic honey is sweet by nature. And the property of that honey, the medicinal property of that honey, increases more and more with the passage of time. Now, any food product, with the passage of time, it will undergo decay. But there are certain objects, like, say, for example, honey, it just, the property increases and grows more and more. It becomes more and more useful. And the potency of that product increases. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is sweet, but the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam and the medicinal property of Srimad Bhagavatam in the form of curing the Kali Yuga product increases with the passage of time. Srimad Bhagavatam becomes more and more potent as one embraces the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam in one's life. Vayam tu na vitrupyama uttama shloka vikrame yat shrunvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. One experiences more and more sweetness as one progresses on this path, as one marches ahead on this path with the passage of time. Otherwise, the things of this world, they do not remain fresh forever. And here we see the pastime that we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastime of Brahmaji. Creating a new creation altogether. It's a new creation. It's the new year for Brahmaji in one sense, where he's giving birth to a new creation altogether. We learn 3 lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam. And these 3 lessons can be a 3 take-home message for all of us on this new year. So Srimad Bhagavatam prioritizes these 3 things. The first is prioritizing inner growth. I repeat, prioritizing inner growth over comfort. Brahmaji, as we have heard and as we have read through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahmaji performs severe austerity for years and years together and gives more priority over inner growth than one's own comfort. So Brahmaji is giving up one's own comfort for the purification of one's heart. Let this be the first take-home message from Srimad Bhagavatam, where we prioritize inner growth over just the physical comfort. Second, prioritizing purpose over popularity. In this age of social media where everyone is heading for becoming a popular, becoming, say, a celebrity. Everyone thinks they are no less than a celebrity because they have such and so many followers. Of course, there is nothing wrong having followers on social media. Absolutely no perfect as we go with the trend. But more than just being popular, we must prioritize the purpose for which we use social media, the purpose for which we are here in this material world. And we see in case of Brahmaji, no, he lives a life of responsibility and a purpose to live for, rather than trying to be popular. In fact, now we all Indians, we all know, you will find so many temples of Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, Parvati, Shakti Peeth, Lord Ganesh, everywhere. But you will hardly see the temple of Brahmaji in India, surprisingly. Brahmaji is not worried about being popular. Brahmaji is more concerned about having a purpose in life. And here in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, we will see how Brahmaji is truly concerned more with achieving the right purpose in life. And the third take-home message on this New Year's Day is prioritizing discipline over distraction. In this age where distraction is so rampant, it is far more difficult to stay disciplined. It is far more easier to get carried away. But Srimad Bhagavatam, through the pages of these chapters that we are reading, it gives us this wonderful insight of how distraction is inevitable. Even a personality like Brahmaji underwent a major distraction in his life. But even when someone goes through distractive phases, what is important is again disciplining one's mind. Yato nischarati manaschanchalamastheram tatastato niyamyeta atmanyeva vasham naye. This is what Lord Krishna is telling. He doesn't expect us to be perfect. He doesn't expect us to be perfectly focused at all times. No, what he's expecting from us is, even though we may get distracted, still nothing wrong, absolutely fine. All that we need to do is realign, come back on track. That's what Lord Krishna says. Yato nischarati manaschanchalamastheram. Whenever and wherever the mind wanders, O Arjuna, try to bring it back and try to reinstall and reinstate at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. So these are the three main take-home message for all of us today from this chapter that we are reading. Brahmaji underwent that distraction, but in the course of going through that destructive phase, he again disciplines himself. So the first is prioritizing inner growth over physical comfort. Second, prioritizing purpose over popularity. And the third, prioritizing discipline over distraction. If we can just work on these three, very soon New Year will come. But we will find ourselves still struggling to follow. But Brahmaji, through his example, is truly giving us hope that yes, even a personality of that stature can go through lots of ups and downs. And this is what this chapter is all about. In the course of creation, Brahmaji undergoes severe ups and downs. Brahmaji faces severe physical obstacles and mental disturbances. So I've noted down uh, few of the physical obstacles that Brahmaji undergoes, encounters, and also the mental disturbances, the mental state, the negative emotions and the feelings that Brahmaji undergoes. So Brahmaji has received the direct darshan of the Supreme Lord in the previous chapter. Not just that, Brahmaji has received the direct instruction, to do the secondary creation, Visarga. But in the course of accomplishing this task, Brahmaji also encounters severe, major obstacles, difficulties, and especially the feelings, the negative feelings that Brahmaji encounters. And a very interesting point to note is, although Brahmaji is the most intelligent person in this entire creation, but still he experiences this one thing, that we cannot have a smooth ride. Hmm? He still finds no difficulties in functioning things smoothly. So being intelligent or being genius doesn't guarantee a problem-free life. That's for sure. In fact, more competent and more charismatic you are, more you think you are in control. And more you want others to act as per your wish and your will. But we have seen more the competency, more the charisma, more the levels of frustration when things don't go the way we expect. And here we see a personality like Brahmaji also experiences frustration in the course of creation. At the same time, he also undergoes these emotions, churning of emotions like anger. As we see in this verse, Brahmaji, in the course of creation, things didn't go as per his expectation. And as a result, he also exhibited this quality of this negative emotion of anger. And it is said that to whom much is given, much more is expected. We have heard this so many times. But this, yes, this is true. But one more truth in connection to this is, to whom much is given, it is said, to whom much is given, that person's expectation to receive more also increases. We expect, as Krishna says, someone who is honored, dishonored is worse than death. So obviously, when someone is so much respected, honored, revered, that person's expectation to receive honor also grows, increases more and more. And we will just quickly go through the parallels between the life of Brahma and a life of a sadhaka. Just as Brahmaji, in the course of performing the service, encountered those obstacles, similarly, a sadhaka, in the course of performing any services, also undergoes the dilemmas and difficulties. But the point is not that difficulties will come. The point is, in spite of difficulties and dilemmas, Brahmaji is teaching us how he persevered and how he continued on doing his service. And Brahmaji is teaching us one more lesson, the secret of empowerment. Empowerment doesn't mean absence of obstacles. Empowerment means perseverance amidst obstacle. Real empowerment is not all about having a smooth ride. Real empowerment is the strength to walk even though when there are rough roads. If empowerment meant freedom from obstacles, then all the strongest personality in the history would have lived easiest lives. But the opposite is true. Empowerment means there will be obstacles. So, real empowerment is not when we succeed. That's not real empowerment. Real empowerment is the inner capacity to continue on even when our motivation fades, even when support fails, and even when results delay, when we persevere, when we continue on in life. So, those who are empowered, they don't say that I never fall. They also fall. But what do they say? I don't stay wherever I fall. I continue, I get up, I move ahead in life. And that's when someone will be truly empowered. And Brahmaji, in the course of creation, in spite of going through various challenges, in spite of going through severe repercussions, Brahmaji still doesn't give up. And that's a great inspiration for all of us to continue on, to march on without giving up. Especially when some devotee performs some extraordinary services, no, that devotee is considered empowered, is it not? Oh, we say, oh, you are really empowered to do this. How could you do this? This would have not been possible at my end, but you did it. So, when someone does some extraordinary services, that personality is considered empowered by the divine. And here we see in Bhagavad Gita itself, Lord Krishna says, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachi mayye vete nihitan purvameva nimitta matram bhava savyasachi. Lord Krishna is going to empower Arjuna to fight and defeat and win the war. But Arjuna's life, Arjuna's journey was not free from obstacles and challenges. So, although Lord Krishna is himself going to empower Arjuna, but Lord Krishna doesn't make Arjuna's life free from challenges. And the best part is, although Arjuna has been told by Lord Krishna that you are already empowered, they are already killed, all that you have to do is just be an instrument. And when Arjuna heard this, still Arjuna did not ask for problem-free journey. He did not expect and he did not want to escape a problem-free life. And that's what makes Arjuna furthermore empowered on this journey. So, I'll just quickly go through few of the obstacles that Brahmaji underwent and how he overcame, how he overcomes these obstacles and the feelings, the negative feelings. The first and the foremost is the feeling of dislike and discomfort that Brahmaji experiences when Lord Krishna, when Vishnu gives him the direct order of creating. The first thing that Brahmaji feels is discomfort. He's thinking, I'm going to put the conditioned living entity into so many problems, so many difficulties, so much distress. We all know this famous verse. Kshuttritridhatu birima muhurardhyamana shitoshna vatavarasher itare tarascha kamagni nam achyutarusha sudurбharena sampashyato mana urukramasидate me. Brahmaji is feeling distressed because Brahmaji knows that all the living entities will have to undergo these external and internal challenges. Brahmaji is going to create hunger, thirst, the miseries all around. Shitoshna vata varasher, adhyatmik, adi daivik, adi bhautik klesh. And at the same time, deep within, kamagnina achyutarisha, the lust, anger, and all these 6 anarthas will keep burning the living entity from within. So Brahmaji is saying, Urukrama sidate me, my heart is pained. it's not comforting, my dear Lord. So although the Lord is ordering him, but Brahmaji is very candid. in his expression. Brahmaji is being very honest in expressing, my dear Lord, what can I do? And Prabhupada writes in the purport that an obedient servant of the Lord, Brahma, creates all these as a matter of necessity, but he is not happy in doing so because a devotee of the Lord naturally does not like to see anyone going through such distressful condition. So yes, many a times when orders are given to us, no, a devotee or a sadhaka may experience a dislike or a discomfort in doing a certain service. But nevertheless, just like Brahmaji, a devotee continues on. Devotee may express that, yes, I don't like to do this service because that's not my nature. I'm not made for it. But still, for one's own purification, a devotee will continue to follow the instructions. There's so many wonderful pastimes in connection to this. When Srila Prabhupada gave orders, Srila Prabhupada gave the standing order that Chaitanya Charitamrita must, all the volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita be printed within 2 months. It was practically impossible for all the devotees to come together and accomplish this task. They actually said, Prabhupada, this is impossible. And then Prabhupada said, no, impossible is a word in fool's dictionary. Although they expressed that it's just difficult, but still they moved on and they ended up accomplishing that task. It's a beautiful story in and of itself, how the devotees accomplished that task, although it was a bit tedious, difficult, but they stretched. So a devotee goes through this feeling of discomfort or dislike. The second is disobedience. When we do or disrespect, here we see in case of Brahmaji, Brahmaji is about to create, and in the course of creation, the first created living being in the form of the four Kumaras, when they were born from the mind of Brahmaji, Manasaputra, Brahmaji ordered them to create. Brahmaji delegated this service by telling, you also help me in the process of creation. But the immediate reply was no, blatant no. And in the course of doing our services, we may delegate certain services to others, and we may also experience disobedience and disrespect from the opposite person, where someone may just say upfront, no, I'm not here for this service. But yes, Brahmaji did not really get into the details of why they don't, although Brahmaji did not actually judge them. This is most important. In the course of doing services and delegating services, when we receive no, most important is not to being judgmental and giving everyone the space and benefit of doubt. And sometimes, when someone says upfront no to us, that is the natural reason for someone to provoke us and make us angry. When few of our devotees who entered brahmachari ashram, the parents told them, why are you, what's your plan? And they said, no, my plan is completely against your plan. And so many devotees, they in one sense disobeyed their parents, and they did not really follow what their parents expected. No, when you have made up your mind that I will make this person the way I want, or I want this person to do no only this. I want this person to enter into this profession only, this field only. Many a times parents have this expectation from their children, that I want my child to become, say, a particular professional person in that particular field. But a child goes completely against the will of the parents, and that naturally generates, provokes anger. So, in one sense, too much expectation is the cause of anger in our life. But there are so many brahmacharis who actually, when they joined ashram, when the parents asked, "What's your plan?" they said, "My plan is whatever you desire. But I am too young to get married right now. Let me explore this world more and more. Give me some time and let me decide. And after I go through what I want to experience, then I will simply follow whatever you say." And that's how they really, subdued, and they actually did not provoke that anger within their parents. But yes, here we see in case of Brahmaji that anger which arised was not out of illusion. Anger led to frustration in executing that divine duty. So anger per se is natural. Anger per se is not good or not bad. What is the intention behind we getting angry is more important. Of course, anger at all times is a negative emotion which must be given up and which must be avoided as far as possible. But here we see anger taking a constructive form, where anger also turns out to be a positive and a powerful energy. So anger is inherently not sinful. Anger can also be used with the right for the right cause. And bhakti gives space even to anger, where we use anger for the right cause. If you see in this world, especially in India, there are so many people who say that how can a sannyasi become angry? Because for them, the understanding is more you are devoid of emotion, more you are advanced. Bhakti does not reject emotions. Bhakti empowers one to channelize one's emotion in the right direction. So yes, this is also important, that feeling angry, this is interesting. Feeling angry is a sign of devotion. Feeling angry can also be a sign of devotion, but expressing that anger may not be the sign of devotion. If someone feels angry within for the right thing, then it's not bad. Imagine you love someone and someone just blasphemes that person and tells that this person has no hands, no legs, this person is handicapped. How will you feel? The natural reaction would be, no, you will be provoked. How can you say such things about this person? Similarly, when devotees hear the blasphemy against the Supreme Lord, the natural outcome is anger. That's why Narottam Das Thakur says, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. And we have series of examples in this connection. So when Brahmaji experiences disobedience, the natural outcome is disgust. That's the third feel that that's the third negative emotion that Brahmaji experienced: disgust or anger. But yes, as we have learned, anger is not completely to be denied or rejected. We know this famous pastime of Srila Prabhupada in Amsterdam. Prabhupada was in Amsterdam for a deity installation of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. When Prabhupada arrived at the temple, he saw that there were no arrangements made. There was supposed to be a yajna before the installation ceremony, but the preparations were not done. The fruits which were brought for yajna were used for making fruit salad. Prabhupada said, "Where are the fruits?" Devotees said, "We used it for making fruit salad." All of a sudden, Prabhupada heard no big noise coming from behind the altar, behind the curtain. Prabhupada said, "What is going on?" They said, "The temple size, the altar size is too small compared to the size of the deities. So they are breaking the altar." Prabhupada immediately went inside and Prabhupada said, "Who is responsible for this?" Prabhupada was really angry. Devotees, they never ever experienced this form, this mood of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada came out of the altar and all the cameras were on. There were these press reporters who were ready to shoot, and they saw Prabhupada getting angry. And Prabhupada did not mind, Prabhupada did not curb. In fact, Prabhupada, when he sat, there was one hippie who was sitting behind Prabhupada. And seeing Prabhupada becoming angry, this hippie took up a bead bag, not a bead bag, a bead, and gave it to Srila Prabhupada and said, "Swamiji, please chant Hare Krishna, don't get angry." Prabhupada did not say a single word. Prabhupada took that bead and started chanting. After the whole ceremony was over, Prabhupada asked for the Mahaprasad. Devotees said, "Mahaprasad is over." Prabhupada said, "Whatever is there, just bring." Devotees rushed to get the Mahaprasad. Whatever they found, little bit, they ran to the room of Srila Prabhupada. While they were running, this devotee fell, toppled. All the Mahaprasad fell on the ground. Prabhupada saw this. Prabhupada said, "I don't mind. I will eat that same Mahaprasad which is fallen on the ground. Give me that same Mahaprasad." Prabhupada ate. The devotees were really upset because they could not please Prabhupada. In the evening, President thought, "Let's all go and apologize to Srila Prabhupada." They went to beg forgiveness from Prabhupada. They saw Prabhupada was just so relaxed. There was no slightest tinge of anger. In fact, Prabhupada was rolling like a child, and he was singing the glories of Gaur-Nitai. And devotees, when they went and begged forgiveness from Srila Prabhupada gave a profound reply. Prabhupada said that actually devotees are never angry. Prabhupada quoted this verse, "Apuryamana machalam pratistam samudramapam pravishanti yadvat. Yadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami." Devotees are like ocean. The waves on the ocean, on the surface of the ocean, may sometimes appear to be very heavy, but deep within, the ocean is very calm and composed. And that's what the devotees are. So devotees are like deep ocean, very wide, very deep, and very composed. So great souls may sometimes manifest anger to teach right lessons to others, but deep within, they are themselves very peaceful and composed, because their anger is not the product of envy. Their anger is not the product of mode of passion. They do not allow anger to control them. They have full control and command over anger. So yes, it's easy to say that my anger was transcendental many a times, but we should not misuse or think that I can get angry anytime, because anger generally controls us, and anger goes beyond our control many a times. But great personalities, when they get angry, they become more endearing to others. This is one important quality to judge. Hmm? If you getting angry makes makes other more endearing, or you become more endearing to others when you get angry. No, we actually uh, radiate such negative energy that people move away from us. Mm. But we see Srila Prabhupada's anger, made Srila Prabhupada more endearing to all the devotees. Mm. And we all know anger begins with passion, ends with ignorance, but great personality, when they get angry, that anger may begin with passion but ends with goodness. That's the difference. And here we see in case of Brahmaji that anger was so constructive that the personality who manifested mm, is none other than an emblem of peace and auspiciousness, that is Lord Shiva. Many examples in the scriptures. Prithu Maharaj got angry for a purpose, because of which the earth started manifesting grains and so many wonderful minerals. Parikshit Maharaj got angry on Kali. The ultimate result was so constructive that Srimad Bhagavatam came out as the best gift to the whole world. So yes, when the horses, when they run, and the running horse, when comes across a hurdle, that horse will stop there and there itself. But if that same horse is taught and trained to jump and go across the hurdle, then in due course of time, as soon as the horse will see the hurdle, immediately the horse will jump over. Similarly, we are taught how to cross over these hurdles in the form of these anarthas. We don't have to just stay wherever we are, but we need to transcend these hurdles in the form of 6 anarthas. And of course, in Bhagavatam, we go through various instances where anger is generated for very much constructive purpose. Narad Muni is getting angry out of compassion and out of strategy to deliver Nalkuber and Manigriv. Mother Yashoda gets angry on Lord Krishna out of love. Or anger out of Yogmaya. We have an example of Parikshit Maharaj getting angry on Shamik Rishi. But we also have anger becoming the cause of destruction in Srimad Bhagavatam. So anger having a constructive purpose and anger having a destructive purpose. So anger per se is not good or bad. We have anger resulting out of frustration. The example of Hiranyakashipu getting angry on Prahlad. We have an anger arising out of envy. We have an example of Shishupal. Or we have an anger arising out of unfulfilled desire or lust. An example of Ravana. But we have also seen in this world, there are these young kids who play video games, and when they are playing any game, outdoor game, they get angry and they may shout, they may scream, and in the course of screaming, they enjoy becoming angry. So anger out of rasa. You enjoy that rasa because it adds flavor to life. We have these 5 primary rasas, the Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. Similarly, there are 7 secondary rasas, and one of them is Virya, chivalry, where when you fight, you exhibit anger. So these 7 secondary rasas are actually the topping on the 5. they add flavor to these five rasas, whether it's hasya or vibhatsa or virya or uh, bhaya or vismay. So you eat a sabji which is having no taste. Say you eat a bangan sabji. Now, unless you add some spicing on it, you will really not like the taste of that sabji. So the secondary rasas are like adding spices on the five primary rasas. But everything said and done, finally, what is important is we learn from Srimad Bhagavatam that anger is not no that uh, anger is not encouraged, because ultimately that anger may gravitate towards its extreme degree. In the in the course of controlled anger, that controlled anger can turn into an uncontrolled anger, and we have examples of that also in Srimad Bhagavatam, how even great personalities become the victim where they are carried away so much by the uncontrolled anger. We have the example of Janmejay. In the course of performing, Janmejay was so angry after the death of his father. He performs the Sarpa Yagya, and it just goes overboard, where ends up killing so many sarpas, so many snakes. So we generalize anger many a times. To take revenge against one person, we end up hurting, harming so many others. We have the example of Yakshas who killed Dhruva Maharaj's brother Uttam. And Dhruva Maharaj also ended up killing all the Yakshas and had to be stopped. The Prachetas, they ended up destroying all the trees in the forest. They had to be stopped. So yes, anger can go cross the limits. So ultimately, this negative emotion of anger is not at all encouraged in the scriptures. So this is the third. The first was dislike or discomfort. The second is disobedience, disrespect. The third feeling that Brahmaji is experiencing is disgust. The fourth is disaster. Brahmaji gave this service to Lord Shiva to create, but the service was ultimately disaster. When you give someone a service to do and that person ends up spoiling the service, that is far more difficult to handle. And here we see when Brahmaji told Rudra to populate the world, Rudra did that service. But the products, they ended up killing, and they ended up destroying and devouring the entire universe. So in the name of service, they ended up doing disservice. And as a result, Brahmaji was himself afraid of the situation. What to do now? That's the fourth, which is disaster or disruption of your plans. In the course of doing service, your plans may get disrupted. The fifth is diversion. When Rudra ended up giving birth to so many children, and they ended up doing disservice, Brahmaji had to divert his entire attention in trying to resolve that issue, where Brahmaji had to tell Lord Shiva, my dear son, you are not meant for this service. You better go to forest and perform austerity. So Brahmaji, his entire attention was diverted, where he had to delegate Lord Shiva with some other service. And then we see the next obstacle that Brahmaji experiences is the obstacle of distraction. Brahmaji in the course of, first is dislike, second is disobedience, third is disgust, fourth is disaster or disruption of one's service, fifth is the personality who is supposed to do the service himself or herself get distracted. And here we see in this chapter how Brahmaji himself got carried away by getting attracted to his own daughter. He got distracted from the main service. Not to get into the details of it, but yes, we also as a sadhaka many a times forget the main purpose. But what is important is, even though we may get distracted, as we saw in the beginning, we discipline ourselves again. And Brahmaji disciplined himself by giving up his body. So the next result of distraction was disgrace. Because he felt disgraced, and he himself felt a sense of guilt and remorse. So a devotee also may have to go through that phase of disgrace. But what is most important is what follows after disgrace is disappointment and a strong feeling of guilt, where the sons of Lord Brahma, they actually tell Brahmaji that how can you, who is a follower of Dharma, get into such type of disgraceful activities. So disgrace leads to disappointment, and finally that disappointment leads to disinfect, where Brahmaji, we will see in the upcoming verses, Brahmaji, he meditates on the Supreme Lord and purifies himself and disciplines himself. And finally, one more obstacle that Brahmaji will undergo is deficiency, where although Brahmaji is trying to create, but he is not finding the right candidate who can help him do the service of creation. But yes, in spite of all these obstacles, challenges, ups and downs, the negative emotions, the mental disturbances, Brahmaji continues on. And that's what we saw, the secret of empowerment. 5 secret. If you stay determined, if you stay dedicated, if you stay dynamic, if you stay dependent on the Lord always. And the 5th, if you don't give up. That means you persevere, then obviously one will be surely empowered. And that's what we see in case of Brahmaji. Brahmaji continued on, and as a result, he could achieve the desired result. So let this be our hope, aspiration, that my dear Lord, let me prioritize growth. What was that? Let me prioritize growth over comfort. Let me prioritize purpose over popularity. And let me prioritize discipline over distraction. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Samaveda Gaura Bhaktavrinda ki jai.